It begins with silence, a calm ocean under a moonless sky. You're a crew member on a cargo ship halfway across the Pacific. The night feels ordinary until the sonar alarm erupts. At first, the officer on duty dismisses it, probably a glitch. But the shadow on the monitor keeps expanding. 100 feet, 150, 200. Too long for any submarine. Too massive for any creature we know. And then it surfaces. A black and white giant rising higher than the ship itself. An orca, but not the playful whale from documentaries. This one towers like a skyscraper, eyes glinting with intelligence. In that moment, one truth pierces the crew. If these creatures existed, nowhere on Earth would be safe again. A typical killer whale already weighs 6 tons, the size of a school bus. Now multiply that by 20. A 200-foot orca would weigh as much as 40 fully loaded tanks or 3 Boeing 747 jets. And it moves not on land, but in water, where speed and force multiply. Picture standing on a pier as one of these giant surfaces just offshore. The water bulges unnaturally, ships rise and tilt, alarms blare. The simple act of breathing creates waves that slam against seawalls. And when it breaches, the impact is not spectacle, it's catastrophe. Entire marinas torn apart, coastlines shaken as though by an earthquake. And here's the terrifying thought. That's one orca. What happens when pods of 20 or 30 roam the oceans? Unlike sharks or giant squid, orcas are thinkers. They strategize. They hunt in teams. They invent new techniques and pass them down like cultural traditions. Scientists have watched pods create waves to wash seals off ice floes or coordinate distractions to hunt larger prey. Now amplify that intelligence in skyscraper-sized bodies. Picture 5 200-foot orcas surrounding an oil tanker. One breaches on the starboard side, rocking the vessel. Another rams the hull below, opening steel like paper. Within minutes, the tanker sinks. Billions of dollars lost, hundreds of lives gone. And the orcas vanish into the depths before rescue arrives. And here's a chilling loop. If they could learn to target ships, what's to stop them from targeting harbors? Or entire coastal cities. If this already gave you chills, tap that like button right now. It shows me you want more scenarios this terrifying, and trust me, the next ones will be even darker. Shipping is the bloodstream of civilization. 90% of global trade flows through the oceans. But now, imagine those lifelines cut overnight. The Panama Canal closed, ships abandoned mid-voyage. The Strait of Malacca turned into a graveyard of steel. Atlantic routes patrolled by shadows longer than aircraft carriers. You're the captain of a vessel loaded with food, medicine, electronics, cargo the world depends on. The sea is calm, stars overhead. Then the ship jolts. Crew members scream. From below, a massive tail whips upward, striking the hull. Metal screams, containers tumble, and in minutes your ship, and everything on it, sinks into blackness. Without trade, shelves empty. Fuel runs dry. Economies collapse in weeks, all because one part of Earth, the ocean, no longer belongs to us. The wave it creates surges forward, swallowing the pier, tossing cars, drowning dozens in seconds. Coastal cities would become unlivable, ports abandoned, fishing villages erased overnight. Parents would forbid children from even approaching the sea. Humanity would begin to fear not just storms and tsunamis, but the mere possibility of what lurks beneath. And yet, the tragedy wouldn't stop with us. The ocean itself would collapse. Blue whales, the largest animals to ever live, would now be easy prey. Schools of tuna, once numbering in the millions, devoured in minutes. Sharks stripped of their title as apex predators. Dolphins, porpoises, even giant squid, hunted to extinction. Imagine diving into waters that once teemed with life and finding only silence. Coral reefs crumbling, ecosystems erased, the ocean transformed into a barren wasteland dominated by a few colossal predators. And here's the ripple effect. The oceans produce more than half the oxygen you breathe right now. Collapse them, and you don't just lose fish. You threaten human survival itself. Of course, humans would retaliate. Fleets armed with torpedoes, submarines loaded with nuclear depth charges, electrified nets stretched across shipping lanes. But against predators that dive deeper than our weapons can reach, that coordinate better than our generals, that learn with every failed attempt, what chance would we really have? Picture New York Harbor at dawn. Workers loading containers, ferries crossing the bay. Suddenly the water retreats hundreds of feet, exposing muddy ground. A silence falls. And then, chaos. A black and white wall erupts from the depths, higher than skyscrapers. A breach. The wave it creates slams into docks, flips ferries, drowns thousands in seconds. Now pause and ask, how many times would this need to happen before humanity abandoned the seas entirely? Eventually, the world would fracture. Governments forced to evacuate coastal cities, ports left empty. Global trade shifted to air routes and underground systems, humanity confined to land, while the oceans belonged to titans. Earth would split into two domains. One for humans trapped on soil and one for the orcas, uncontested rulers of the waves. For the first time in history, humanity wouldn't just lose control. We would surrender half the planet, admitting defeat not to aliens or gods, but to nature itself. In conclusion, closing and engagement. If killer whales really grew to 200 feet, life on Earth would change forever. Each dive, an earthquake. Each leap, a tsunami. Each pod, a fleet of destruction. And yet, maybe the true warning isn't about monsters that don't exist. It's about the oceans as they already are, vast, dangerous, filled with forces beyond our control. So tell me, would humanity fight back? Or would we abandon the oceans forever? Share your answer in the comments. And if this vision made your heart race, smash that like button. It lets me know you're ready for even darker realities. Finally, subscribe now and join us because the next scenario might make this one feel tame.